Hi, and welcome back to the HSP Connection with me, Robbie Lee.
And me, Philippa Robinson. This is where we share our stories, insights, and strategies to help fellow highly sensitive people navigate their own path to live a fulfilling and meaningful life. So, Robbie, what are we talking about today?
Well, I'm very excited to say that it's not just what are we talking about today, but we have an additional who that we are talking with today. Today we have our first guest on the show, and I'm so excited. She's a business owner, an author, a high sensory coach, a creative, super creative person. She's been regularly featured as an HSP expert in Norwegian news and magazine articles. She's all this, and she's really a ton more, plus a really good friend of ours. And we're thrilled to introduce you today to Trude Sletteland. Trude, so glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So glad to be here.
So when we were chatting about potential topics, because the three of us chat almost weekly, so we have lots of things we could chat about. One of the things you mentioned is that you'd love to speak about the acceptance of and gratitude for emotions, which really touched my heart when you said that. I was like, oh yeah, there's something really there. And I'd love to just hear more about why that topic. What is it about that?
I really remember the first time I really felt that there was something different about me and my emotions. Is I was sort of like just walking across a square and I was looking at, the bright colors and everything was so beautiful. I thought, wow, isn't this just beautiful? And the people around me said, yeah, this is nice. And I thought, no, that's so wrong. This is not it. It's fantastic, don't you see? And then I realized they just don't see it. And so I felt really, really lucky. And that's the first time I actually grasped that kind of difference. So when I heard the expression, a highly sensitive person, I knew that was me. But I didn't really sort of resonate with all the negative things. Like, I know that I am highly sensitive because that was it. And so my first, grasp of that, of what high sensitivity really is the good side of the emotions. And so I realized that, those fantastic sides, you can't have them without the worst sides of them. And to me, it's exactly the same thing. So when I feel, frustrated, depressed, angry, all of that, it is just the other side of, fantastic.
I love that so much. I mean, as a young person, to have that experience of just knowing how you experience the world and being able to also understand that when people are like, oh yeah, that's nice, they were not experiencing the world the way you did. And that your initial feeling around that was how lucky you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so beautiful. And so then I'm also hearing you say, so knowing that you can take in such beauty and experience things so deeply, there is a magnificently joyful side of being an HSP, the way that we're able to interact with the world. And it comes with the flip side as well. And how did you learn to kind of be with those other emotions?
I don't, well, of course I do know. I remember once when I was like 14 or something, I was like, really down, really sort of feeling depressed, I think like a teenager does. And my mum said to me that, don't worry, tomorrow you would back up there again. And I've always remembered that. I think that's the wisest thing she ever said. Because then I just realized I don't live down here. I visit it every so often, but I don't live here. This is not me. And yeah, so I've never forgotten that. She said it once.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so, being an extrovert, very open, and people come to me. And being an HSP, people come to me and talk to me. And so when I listen to their stories and hear, what they're worried about, what their issues are, I always feel that that's just the other side of the upside. And so it's been sort of like easy for me to see that, you belong up there. And so that's why I it's not just that I feel that this is nice to work with, this is interesting. I just desperately need to do it because people need to be up there. They need to know that they belong there, because the more people who know that they belong up in, love and cheerfulness and that, and joy and wonder and growth and, all of that, the better the world would be. Especially for us,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because, moods are contagious. And we really feel other people's emotions. So if we can feel, the wonderful emotions, then and expand on that, that's going to make for such a much better world. And of course, it's a much better world than we think.
Yeah. Like it gets my arms tingly every time I hear you talk about joy and the contagion of emotions. Yeah, it's really lovely. And because you have this knowing of like where we're meant to be, right? That we're made to experience this beautiful side of the world. It sounds like that enables you to sit with people when they're in the darkness and when they're not experiencing that, because life doesn't just throw joy at us all the time, right?
No,
So,
it doesn't.
yeah.
And I don't think it should, because then we won't move. We'll be standing right still, So that feeling of something's wrong makes us do something. And so the other side of my joy and happiness and all of that is frustration. And that frustration and anger drives me to do something about it, So when something's wrong, I need to do something, because, I want to go back up there.
Yeah. Yeah. So knowing like that joy and love is our natural state, then when you're feeling something other than that, when you're feeling the frustration, the anger, the sadness, what I'm hearing you say is those are cues for you to say, okay, right. Well, then let's do something different. Something needs to be addressed here, or something else needs to happen. Am I hearing that right?
Absolutely. Yes. So that's when I start panicking and start contacting politicians and writing news. Starting another centre,
Oh my God. Philippa, she says this so casually. I just contact politicians, start another center. Yeah.
I know. And we know this about Trude, but hearing this is like, I don't know, it's just incredible. I'm just sitting here sort of in awe, really. It's just, everybody needs Trude in their life, I'd say.
Agree.
Can I ask something? I know I'm supposed to be keeping quiet, but I'm failing already.
Please ask.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about your centre and how your centre is like, is everything you've just told us around emotions, how your centre sort of fits in that, please?
Yeah, because I think that centre really ought to be called Trude.
Yeah, it should.
Yes.
What it's all about, because it came out of me being burnt out. I had 2 successive jobs that were terrible. I mean, the environment was just horrible, and most people were on sick leave from time to time. So I really had to sort of talk to people and help them to get up to my level of, I don't know, I wasn't particularly happy at the time, but really, I was experiencing a lot of lows. And as you know, when you get sick leave, you get a permission to go home, which was literally the most boring thing I could ever imagine. And so what I needed to do was something active, something that could prove that I was better than that I'm actually a happy person, that I'm actually someone who can give to other people. You know, I needed to show who I was. And I had no idea where to do that. So I met with this woman who was doing arts for people, unemployed people outside of Newcastle, England. And I thought, I'm going to translate that into Trude. And so I think I got the idea on that day, and on the following day I told everybody I met that I'm going to start this centre that's got something to do with arts. I don't know what, and it's for people who need it. You know? And so I went about, and I think a year after I'd actually established the company, and a year after that I started working for our welfare state, you know, for unemployed people. And it was a bit frustrating, but at the same time, I always felt that it really worked. You know, they were there to better their possibilities of getting a job. They've been unemployed for a long time, and normally they'd go into you know, really horrible places with desks and chairs and a blackboard and maybe some computers, I don't know what. But anyway, my venue was simply an art gallery. And the tables were, you know, some were round, some were square, some were, you know, all sorts of things. So it was just simply a very different kind of place. And all these men started looking at the pictures and wondering, what on earth is this? And, you know, and it just snapped them out of whatever they were in when they came in the door. And so it just really worked. Fast forward a little bit, I got some new people coming in from this system, but who were generally more creative because they had nowhere else to send them. So they sent them to me after they tried everything else, because, you know, Trude can fix them. Of course, what does that mean? But I realized that every single person who came to my place and got, you know, the opportunity to do something creative, to be who they wanted to be, and so on, they had something in common. And they had something in common with me. You know, and, you know, I think I'm the best person in the world anyway, and if they're like me, they're pretty brilliant, right? That's and I think they rather enjoyed that. Yes. Feeling really appreciated. And I realized there was one who was really, you know, really happy, really depressed. And I saw her emotions swing immensely. And I thought, I know what this is about. I just haven't got the words for it. So what is going on here? So I started Googling, and I found Elaine Aron and high sensitivity. And I thought, we've got it. And so I started writing letters to the editor, contacting psychologists. I started writing a book. We started doing open meetings. And I just realized that I'm really onto something. And then all of a sudden, you know, Elaine Aron's book in Norwegian just popped into my mailbox without me asking for it, with an invitation to the opening of the book launch in Oslo. And so I went there, and that was fantastic. And from then on, it's just been, you know, yeah. And they all knew about me for some reason. Oh, you're so lucky to have a venue where you can have open meetings with HSPs and so on. So it's like, okay, yeah. So, yeah. So that was that. So it was really a high sensory space. But it was a limited company, and I had to make money. And of course I didn't. And so I had to close it down in 2016. But then come Corona, and I was teaching English on Zoom, and, you know, seeing nobody, and I almost died, you know, not literally, but inside. And it was horrible. And I thought, I have to do something. I have to get that centre back up, and I have to do it properly this time, and not make money off of it, but I have to be creative. So now it's an art gallery, and it's a place where we paint. I paint, the floor and furniture, and we do anything that makes us, happy and tick, and we give each other ideas, and it's a wonderful place. Yeah. So that's the short version. Sorry.
We're both
Oh my gosh.
stunned. We're both stunned into silence, aren't we, Robin?
Yeah. I mean, Trude, of course, I've known about your center, and every time I hear you talk about it, it just feels like this magical place. Magical because there's freedom there for people to express and to be, and like what you were talking about before in the first iteration of it, where you really appreciated the people there and they got to experience that. Right? It's like someone valuing them and appreciating them and seeing them. Like that does change people. It does something on the inside. And yeah, I am, every time you talk about kind of what you do in the world, I am in awe, because it's like you think, well, no, I don't like that. And you create these big things. You know, centers, for example, for programs, write books. I mean, Philippa also does these things. So, I mean, you guys are amazing, both of you. It's incredible. And it's the power of this. You are just a beautiful example of what a high sensory person or an HSP can do in the world, because you know the need, because you feel it in every cell of your body. And then you say, okay, well, I've got to do something about this. And you do it. You make it different.
I think, and I honestly think that most people who really change anything are HSPs. I think the very reason why we do it, because we feel it so strongly, we have to. And of course, not everybody can do it, of course. I mean, it takes a certain kind of courage. I'm not really sure I would call it courage, because courage is doing something you don't dare to do. So if I dare, it's not really courage, is it? It's just, just have to do it.
Just have to do it.
Yeah, but it takes a different kind of feeling of security and safety
in yourself.
Yes, because I think my anchor is, I think it's very far away from me. So I can run pretty far. That's a really sort of strange image that I've had all my life, I think. We need an anchor to hang on to be sort of attached to for safety. But I think mine differs a bit from a lot of people. I feel stuck easily. I don't feel safe if things are too limiting. Yeah.
I love that image of the anchor, like with a long lead. It's like you've got a long rein, and you're like, yes, got to be free. I've got to move. I have to create. I have to do.
Yeah. Just do things differently, always.
But you are tethered to something, someone. What would you say is at the other end?
At the other end, love.
Oh,
I don't know if why I had to think about that. It's really easy once I get used to that thought,
Yeah.
Because there is actually an awful lot of love in this world, and if you feel that you can trust it, and I think I've been very lucky to be able to trust love very often. And so I'm a very, very trusting person. I trust until proved otherwise.
Now that's incredible. That is incredible, because that's certainly not my experience. So I love to hear you say that. And as you do say it, it feels very true to me. That is I hadn't didn't know that until you said it, but that is my experience of you, that you embody trust and love, and you feel like a safe place to me. And I think that's why.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's
Wonderful.
same
Yeah.
for me. Yeah.
Because that's probably it. Because that feels safe to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, you know, we create this safety together. And, you know, if I can hold that, I don't mind being the medium for that. You know, as long as it's there.
Yeah.
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 And I think actually it is true, because when people are, you know, people I meet are in some kind of trouble, I know I have to stay, you know, still and strong, and at least pretend I'm not afraid, because I have to be strong for them. And of course, that means that I'm not really in danger. And of course, I'm helping them in a way.
Yeah, you're a safe haven for them in that moment, aren't you? And I imagine that your what we talked about at the beginning about emotions, and your understanding that maybe the more down emotions are the flip side of the higher emotions, helps you be with them in their emotions that they're feeling there and then. It doesn't feel like, I don't know, I mean, I don't like the word good and bad, but it doesn't feel like a bad place to be. It's just where they are, and you know there is a flip side to it.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing that back up again, because I think that's actually quite central. Because, you know, if you feel that this is actually, you know, a poster saying something, right? This is, yeah, the other side of that feeling that you also, or the other side of what you are also. So it is saying that this is not the place you want to be, but it says an awful lot about who you are and what your potential is.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people lately, and it really resonates with me when I hear them say that you know, all emotions are messages, especially the what we're sort of referring to here is the sort of more down or lower sort of emotions. They are information. You know, the frustration, what is it that you're frustrated about? You know, the anger, you know, all those other sort of emotions, they are information that if we can delve into what that is all about, that can help us, you know, get to the other side, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah. And to me, it's really funny sometimes, because people, when they come in the door and say, I'm really, really frustrated today, or I'm really, really low because I just lost my job or something, I go, well, really? That's fantastic. Oh, sorry. I didn't really mean it that way, but, you know.
Yeah.
Got something to work on here.
Yes. Okay, let's delve into that a bit more.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Trude, because, you know, a lot of people run away from emotions that don't feel great. They try to push them down or push them away. And I feel like, because you know the truth of people and you know what these emotions represent, like the combo of that seems like it just enables you to run to them. And it's like there's nothing to be afraid of here. And your lack of fear around it, I think, creates this beautiful space for it just to, you know, move through and to investigate if needed. But there's something about that, yeah, lack of fear that just, and I'm actually struck by your lack of fear in general. Just every time I talk to you, I'm just like, Trude's fearless. And not in the way that sometimes people talk about people who do like really crazy death defying things. It's like, oh my God. But like, you walk around the world with the surety, and just like, you know, and in hearing your story, it's just like, well, we needed this. And so of course I'm going to make it like that. There's a fearlessness and a surety that is just amazing.
Yeah, I am actually really appreciative of that, I actually understood it in a new way when I visited America, I don't know, 8 years ago or so. Went to New Orleans and took the tram, downtown. We thought, let's see something authentic. Not realizing that I wasn't in Norway anymore. You
Yep.
shouldn't look up the authenticness of America sometimes.
Yep.
So we ended up in the project somewhere,
Yeah.
walking along, and I took loads of photos and realizing afterwards that, okay, so all these signs that I just photographed were all about, don't go here. This is dangerous. You might be shot,
Whoops.
And we didn't realize that until, with kids and everything. And I didn't realize that before this ambulance, stopped right next to us. And, there were two people, one who seemed to be going off to look for patients or something. And the other one just had plenty of time to talk to us and said, so who are you visiting? It's like, not really visiting anybody. Was sort of like, just saw us, just looking around and said, well, no, you shouldn't do that. Now you have to go up there and up there, I felt so, blonde. I felt I felt like the blondest person in the world. And I remembered, Asterix and Obelix, the cartoon from, France. Can't remember. And once the Vikings went to visit them because they wanted to learn about fear, because fear makes you fly. So these Vikings wanted to learn how to fly. So they sort of looked for fear because that teaches you to fly. And so I felt like that stupid Viking who had no idea what fear was all about. So I really, really noticed that, okay, I am absolutely fearless and I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, because most people would be petrified by now. And I'm just not afraid. Of course, I could have been shot, but then, I don't know, why be afraid before that happens?
Right.
Yeah. So I really, really recognized it. And this was, I don't know, there's been a terrorist attack on Norway by a Norwegian person on the 22nd of July on that year. 2 days, the day after we came back from America. And my first thought was, don't take that away from me. Don't take my feeling of safety away from me. And he didn't. Yeah. So yeah, I know that I am really lucky, and it's probably because I've had a really safe upbringing. Always been allowed to be myself. Never been threatened with anything. Our doors were always open. And yeah, so yeah, just plain lucky.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
So growing up, were you embraced by your family for who you are? I mean, you might not have known that was sort of high sensitivity at the time, but was that, and I think you've said, I think you used the word different at the beginning. So was that difference like celebrated or at least nourished, nurtured?
Yeah, I mean, my mum had one aunt who was like really altruistic, a really, really beautiful soul. And she really, really really adored her. And my grandmother, my mum's mum, she was also a social entrepreneur and a really emotional person, and definitely HSP. And it was sort of not exactly celebrated, but it was always, we always knew that she was nice, kind, a beautiful soul. And so it was never negative, and mostly positive, really. And so I think I grew up thinking that was, yeah, definitely. I grew up knowing that being a good person is the best you can be. Yeah. So I think my ambition was to become a sweet old lady.
How's that going?
Oh my gosh.
I bet you. I can't imagine you ever getting old. Like what my perception, like from years ago, what my perception of old might be. What a sweet old lady is going to be like. I'm not sure any of us are going to be sweet old ladies. Hopefully, we're going to be banging drums and making noise, and and until the end.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now we know we're allowed to, so, and we know that we can decide to.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it brings me back to trust. I'm kind of thinking that everything, your upbringing, your fearlessness, and your trust are all interconnected to sort of create, and your creativity and your like absolute faith in love, that love is at the center of everything.
Yeah.
Though I don't know, those are all sort of making up Trude for me on the back of this conversation. How does that feel? How does that resonate with you?
Sounds absolutely fantastic to me. It's true almost, but yeah, but yes, I think so. Because all of that just makes it just makes perfect in my eyes. I think can't be any better than that. So that's the upside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And do you have any particular, when people come to your center and they're not in that good up place, do you have any particular or any tips that you can sort of give us and people listening that you might use that might help move them from one place to the other?
Well, I always just use my gut, my intuition. So I can't say what I do, but I think it's very often the same. But it's just, I am always pleased to see people, and it's always, they are always welcome. And if I can be of any sort of assistance, not help, I don't like that word, then I would really love to. And so they just feel that this is a safe place. We can talk about anything. I don't mind if you talk about difficult stuff or happy stuff or what you want to do or what you don't want to do or whatever, as long as, you feel safe and relaxed and just can, because that opens up for so many ideas and, and possibilities. And then we do things together. So I don't help people. I'm just, I think I like the word facilitating. It's just, I'm just, giving you the space to be who you are. And I'm really, really grateful when you dare.
Oh, my goodness, mate. I don't know about you, Robbie, but I'm like, I don't, when you said, people just relax and can, I was just like going, oh yeah, it just feels very, my trust in you and knowing that you are there for the best, the higher good of me. Mm-hmm. When you're talking is so like it's pretty visceral, really.
Yeah, it's palpable.
Yeah, that's a better word. Yeah,
I think, because I'm looking at the higher good of you, of course I'm safe.
Yeah, everyone needs a Trude.
Everyone needs a Trude.
Yeah, and Trude needs the likes of you.
Well, I suppose we are being your mirrors here, aren't we? And we're sort of reflecting back to you what we see, and so
and feel, and how we experience you, and it is no wonder to me that people are drawn to you and your center, because to be held in a safe place, to be seen for who you are, and to know that someone sees you as brilliant, like it's life-giving. I mean, there are not a lot of spaces that people can go to and feel that, and you create that for people, which is just so magical. I'm so grateful for who you are in the world, and that I get to know you in the world. It's just amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with our listeners so they get a little taste of who you are in the world.
because I really hope that people feel that they are that, because I don't feel that it's about me. I think it's about, I think just, it's about love. It's about the, it's what we share. It is us. It's all of us. It's in us. And we need spaces where we are allowed to show that. And that's what I'm trying to do. It's not about me. I'm just trying to sort of make at least one space, and hopefully other people make other spaces like that, because we need to know that we are actually perfect the way we are, fantastic the way we are.
I believe you when you say that. Like, maybe I am perfect if Trude says it. I mean,
exactly. We're both sitting up a bit taller now and a bit like, oh yeah, get us.
I won't say I'm always right.
Oh, it's amazing. And I mean, this is probably a really obvious question, but just, how does your you being highly sensitive, like, how is that connected with what we're talking about? I know it is, but can you explain to us how it is connected?
Well, it's because we have access to that, that deeper sense of who we are, it is the deeper emotions that we grasp. We know, I mean, once you get hold of the deeper good feelings, you want more of them, right? And we have these mirror neurons, meaning that we do mirror each other. So if we can feel that other people have access to that too, then that is it's something we share, and it's something that makes it grow. It makes it better for all of us. So being HSP and accessing the fantastic side of it, sharing it more, it means that it helps everybody, absolutely everybody. The world is a better place for it.
Yeah, and this is the narrative that Robbie and I are trying to change. That yes, there are there are some challenges around overwhelm and overstimulation and self-care. There is all that, and it's so worth getting to grips with that, because of this magic, using Robbie's word, the magic and the wonder that being HSP brings. And you are like the shining star of that, really. You're the beacon. This is high sensitivity, and this is love, and this is that you are the person who wants good for all, and beauty for all, and love for all, and will do what you can to spread that around. And hopefully this conversation, and people listening and watching to this conversation, because you're certainly doing it in me, you are infusing that in others, because it is that simple. I'm not saying it's simple to put it in place, but why isn't it? It is actually that simple, isn't it? And I love what you're saying about fearlessness and trust, and just you're seeing the good, the best in people, and you are just facilitating them seeing the best in themselves.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I sometimes feel I'm sitting on a pink cloud, and just trying to get other people up there.
Hauling them up onto your pink cloud with you.
It's nice up here. Why don't you come up?
Yeah. Yes, please. I'd like to go on that pink. Well, I sometimes right now I feel like I'm on that pink cloud. Yeah. Don't you, Robbie?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're all there with her. Yeah,
we are.
I certainly feel you are here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible. Trude, thank you so much for your time and for sharing who you are, and for helping others see that vision of who they can be as well. And it's been really great.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. And I really hope lots of people feel that they are really special and wonderful. and want to come to my pink cloud.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So talking of
Absolutely.
which, where can people, if anybody wants to find you and find out more about you, where can they do that, Trude?
That's a good question. It depends on what they want. Do you think that was an easy question?
Well, give us a few places then.
Share what you want to share.
Okay, so my center, of course, has a website, and of course it's in Norwegian, so impulscenter.no. Probably write it somewhere. And I've got a high sensory coach, Trude Sletteland on Facebook. I don't use it much, but the minute people start befriending me there, I will, Trude Sletteland at Illuminance.
And we'll have all these in the show notes, so people will be able to go see them.
Much easier. Yeah. Impulscenter.no, that is, my center, and it's all in Norwegian. So, but I might translate a couple of bits.
Well, we'll definitely put all those, all the links that you've given us in the show notes for anybody who wants to find out more about you. And, and obviously, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, they can get in touch with us and we can put them in touch with you or whatever. So, we can facilitate that if the need arises. But
of course, we will never lose touch.
No. And thank you, like Robbie says, thank you so much for your time. This has been a joy of a conversation.
Yes.
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah.
Very welcome. Yeah. So it's bye from Trude, and it's bye from me.
And it's bye from me.
Thanks for listening to HSP Connection. If you've enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes. Also, we'd really appreciate it if you could rate the podcast and share it with anyone you think might be interested. It helps others find us. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, you can also leave us a review.
To get in touch with us, you can email us at hspconnectionpodcast@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you with your thoughts and comments on the episodes and any suggestions you have for future topics and guests.
We are both HSP coaches and speakers. And to find out more about Robbie, go to Robbie Lee, that's leigh.com.
And to find out more about Philippa, go to safeandsupported.co.uk. See you next time.